Warning: the following video contains content that may be disturbing for some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. To understand the case, we need to travel back all the way to 2004. In the area of 109 Main Street, Kittitas. On the morning of September 12, 2004, in the small town of Kittitas, Washington, 4 little girls woke up to a note commanding them to stay away from their brother Cody's bedroom. It had read that he was being punished. Chairs were strangely placed in the hallway. They were treated to movies in the living room for the entire day. Little did they know, the brother was not in his room, nor was he checked on until 5 p.m. that evening. His parents would report him as a runaway about an hour later, although 14 years later and a slew of evidence would prove otherwise. Richard Lee Haynes Jr., who liked to be known as Cody, was born April 16, 1993 in Littleton, Colorado. He was 8.5 pounds. He was a beautiful baby with dark hair and green eyes. He grew to be a rambunctious, creative child who made his own candy, loved camping, Legos, swimming, and being outside. Cody grew up as a little boy with 5 sisters in his home. There were 3 older sisters and 2 younger sisters. Something unique about Cody is that he couldn't pronounce the letter R right up to the age he was to vanish from sight. Cody had an amazing imagination, and also wanted to be a police officer when he grew up. Richard Cody Haynes was only 11 years old when he vanished from his father's home, on September 12, 2004. However, Cody's tumultuous childhood sadly prevented his dreams from coming reality. The children were allegedly abused by their father, and Child Protective Services had been contacted on 2 different times in regards to the children's well-being. Ironically, Richard Haynes Sr.'s girlfriend Marla had formerly worked for CPS. Cody and his 4 sisters were homeschooled and extremely sheltered as well, but according to family members, Cody was treated differently. A neighbor would see the girls outside, but unfortunately never Cody. In fact, the neighbor had no idea that a boy even lived in the home until he went missing. On September 11, 2004, police report that Cody got into an argument with his father's live-in girlfriend, Marla, about doing the dishes. He was forced to remain in the kitchen until almost midnight as a punishment, then sent to his room. 18 hours later, Richard Haynes would report his son as a runaway. He alluded to this theory as stating there was a missing backpack filled with clothes, but the police would later find that bag and Cody's bicycle in a shed behind the house. After building up trust with the police department, Cody's oldest sister would later tell officials that her brother had been beaten mercilessly by their father that night. What we did find was a lot of conflicting details in Cody's case. We won't go into all of that as it will not help find Cody in any way. We want to give the facts on his case plain and simple. If you enjoy a read and would like to delve deeper into different individuals' takes on events over Cody, I will link everything in below for you all. Okay, let's get back into it. As we mentioned, there is conflicting details in Cody's case. The basic fact that Cody did live with his biological mother Lisa at one time, but then Cody went on to be raised by his father, and in retrospect, many questions arise about the quality of his life. Cody was referred to Children's Protective Services in Kittitas, Washington on at least 2 occasions before his disappearance. The principal of his school at Ellensburg Elementary referred the Haynes family to CPS in February 2002. Earlier, the family was referred to CPS in December 2001. Both times the referrals were for physical and emotional abuse and neglect. Until Cody disappeared from the planet, CPS in Washington state deemed Cody's father was satisfactory even after investigating the complaints. His father's girlfriend, Marla J. Harding, has a scuffle with Cody. According to the girlfriend, Cody refused to do some chores he was assigned after dinner. Cody had to remain in the kitchen until almost midnight that night. At midnight, again according to the girlfriend, Cody was sent to his room. His sisters were told not to go near his room. Now bear this in mind, because this is one part I'm baffled by. Any human being would need to use the bathroom, would need to eat, and would need to drink. But nobody once checked on Cody until 5 p.m. the following day. At which point Cody was not in his room. So it was then that his father phoned in a missing persons report. Like many, I solidly feel something so terrible happened to Cody sometime after dinner September 11th, and 2:30 a.m. later that night, September 12th. Because at 2:30 a.m. later that Sunday morning, supposedly after the scuffle between Cody and his father's girlfriend, Cody's father, Richard Haynes Sr., took a long and strange trip. When he left to go looking for car parts, 2 hours after sending Cody to his room, Richard Haynes embarks on a mission to find car parts at 2:30 a.m. and returns home at 4 p.m. later in the day. An hour later he reported Cody missing. Child Protective Services failed Cody, now the justice system fails Cody. Cody and his 4 sisters were alleged to be homeschooled following the reports from the school principal to CPS. 2 referrals to CPS and no one checked into the quality of this homeschooling. CPS thought the children were fine. So much so that there was no need to even bother checking. A week after Cody vanished, his sisters were removed from their father's home and placed into foster care. The removal order alleged abuse, neglect and lack of supervision in the Haynes household and was based mainly on the fact that the girl's brother, Cody, had been made to stay in his room for 18 hours without being allowed to eat, drink, or use the toilet, and without being checked on by an adult. Harding stated that he was a rebellious and deceitful child and needed discipline. Cody's sisters had been declared dependent by the state. Richard has sent very few cards for birthdays or Christmas nor has made many arrangements to see his girls while in foster care over the past years. Marla moved on to California, without Richard. Richard and Marla, surprisingly married within days after Cody's disappearance, and immediately hired lawyers and will not cooperate with investigators about Cody's disappearance to this day. The rest of his family have been cooperating fully with police to date. Before the Haynes children were taken from their home, Richard refused to allow police to question them. At one point, Marla slamming the door in investigators' faces, stating that she was not going to have her life ruined. Witnesses have stated that the Haynes children were made to stand outside for long periods in the wintertime without coats or shoes. Both times the allegations were found to be without merit. Now the family have learned that the children were beat with a board and belt, with a litter box between their legs due to urinating on themselves while being beaten. Another report is Marla had taken the children to a shopping mall in nearby Yakima. She brought the girls in and left Cody in the vehicle for hours while she shopped with the Haynes girls. Cody, allegedly made to lay on the floorboards until the shopping trip had ended. The list of abuse towards the children, especially Cody, goes on and on. Ironically, shortly after the disappearance of Cody, Richard Haynes told the Spokesman Review he would not discuss his son's disappearance without his attorney present. "I'm not interested in talking about it. I'm not talking without my attorney present. No way," he said. Meanwhile, Richard Haynes and Marla Harding had lawyered up and refused to attend a candlelight vigil for their son. In 2011, another vigil was held in honor of missing Cody, which neither Richard nor Marla had attended. Richard has been invited to yet another vigil in advance, for September 2012, marking the 8th year of Cody's disappearance, which he is refusing to attend. "I'm not going, vigils are for dead people. I have a bad back and can't drive that far, a 3-hour trip. I have nowhere to stay in Kittitas, every excuse not to attend. If your child is missing, you put your face out there and do whatever it takes to help in any way." Richard has made no effort since Cody's disappearance. Even when people were scouring Kittitas looking for Cody, a close family friend revealed, "I was searching for Cody for 2 weeks." Richard never went with to look for Cody at all. He was not supposed to leave town without a police escort and he did anyway, 1 week after Cody's disappearance. Suspicious. Now the police and Attorney General are at odds. It's a certainty that CPS has failed Cody Haynes. In February 2005, police obtained a warrant and searched the Haynes residence. They had interviewed Cody's sisters several times since their placement in foster care. Initially the girls said nothing had happened to their brother, but after their removal from the Haynes home, Cody's oldest sister told investigators that he had been beaten severely inside his home the day he vanished. Police searched for traces of blood in the apartment's kitchen to back up the sisters' story. The flooring there had been replaced after Cody's disappearance and without the landlord's knowledge or consent. A second search was made and police seized a computer and Richard's Chevrolet Suburban. They also searched Harding's car. Authorities made what they termed a significant discovery during one of these searches, but have not elaborated on what exactly it was they found. It is alleged that the van Richard had actually been driving the night of the disappearance had actually been sold 2 days later and parted out to a local cab company. The wrong vehicle had been towed according to a close family friend and by a source. To this day, Cody is still missing and no arrests have been made. The family are hoping with a petition they can get a little closer to have Marla J. Harding arrested for Cody's disappearance. Cody's cousins search for answers and long to bring their cousin to a real home. They say that they want his body to charge anyone with anything. The family are working to raise money to get a search team to look in areas of interest. According to the oldest daughter, their father, Richard or Rick Haynes, and his girlfriend, Marla J. Harding, had beat Cody for more than 6 hours. He was made to stand in a 5-gallon bucket, with urine on his feet, as they continued to torture Cody unmercifully. Around 12:30 a.m., Cody's oldest sister went into the kitchen and begged them to stop. She was hit over the head, told to go to her room and mind her own business. She had heard Cody getting hit a few more times, then heard a thud on the floor. At that point the crying stopped. At 2:30 a.m. Rick decides to go look for car parts for his 1954 Kaiser. Mind you, it's a Sunday and nowhere is open, not at this hour. When Cody's sisters awoke the next morning, they were told by Marla not to go near Cody's room. There had been chairs and a sign placed in the hallway blocking off Cody's room, preventing his sisters from looking in on him. During the time Rick was wandering around rural Washington, or as he described, he got lost, Marla had gone across the street from the apartment more than 5 times, to buy cigarettes. Around 3 p.m., she looked in Cody's room and noticed he wasn't there. She called Rick home, then she called the police to report him missing at 6 p.m. One of the children was made to stay in the bathroom for 4 to 5 days. That's where she had to eat and sleep. They were made to stand outside in the snow without proper clothing as a punishment. Along with many other sick games Marla played. 41 days after Cody went missing, Harding and Haynes were called into the police station for a formal interview. When asked to talk with Haynes privately, Harding objected. At that point they lawyered up and stopped talking. Here are the family and everyone who has followed Cody's case years later, with more questions than answers. Cody is still missing and Rick and Marla have yet to answer for this. Where is the justice for this young man? But remember that the people who do these things seem to seek out positions in society that will give them the most access to children. Schools, sports leagues, churches, etc. They use those positions not only for access but also to disarm parents and gain their trust. And digging a little deeper, guess what we discovered, guys? Yes, Marla, the dutiful stepmother after Cody went missing, went on to work with special needs children after what she did to Cody and his sisters. What kind of children's organization hires someone who was fired from CPS and not checked their background? A lot of autistic kids are non-verbal, having somebody with a history of abuse, particularly one accused of such sadistic acts, and also so closely associated with a missing child case, potentially spending time alone with them, or any child, is a terrifying thought, and the parents of those children have a right to know about her. So what actions did Rick and Marla actually do to find their son? Let's take a look, shall we?
Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Roxanne Vainuku.
I'm Craig Galbraith. The family of a missing Kittitas boy is speaking out tonight about his disappearance.
More than 2 months after Cody Haynes went missing, there's still no trace of the boy. Tonight, in an interview you will only see here on KIMA, Cody's father and live-in girlfriend lash out at police and beg for the missing boy to come home.
Cody sleeps with this bunny every night.
Distraught, desperate, and so afraid of community backlash that they won't appear on camera, Richard Haynes and live-in girlfriend Marla Harding plea for Richard's 11-year-old son to come home.
You're not in trouble. Come home.
Mommy and Daddy love you, Cody. The bunny's waiting for you in your bed, Cody.
The couple say since Cody Haynes disappeared this past September, they have been under a cloud of suspicion by Kittitas police. Now the two want to clear the air.
That we retained an attorney about our missing son, that is absolutely not true, and that can be checked. That's not true. The fact that we were the last people to see Cody is not true. Our neighbors saw Cody when he was actually leaving the home, and I can't even think of all of them. There's so many.
The couple say Cody ran away after an argument about following house rules, but they say police are looking at the two of them as if they're the ones breaking the law. What's made you feel targeted?
The numerous lies that have been published that the police know are not accurate, and they continue on.
Police say Haynes and Harding are not suspects in this case, but call some of the pair's behavior curious.
He has been going around telling members of the community that he believes Cody is in Colorado with his biological mother, and we have ruled that out. That is not true. And so he has apparently other information. I don't know how he knows that or what makes him think that, but he hasn't come to us with that either.
Chief Dunnigan says his focus is on tips about the boy.
A lady called and said back in November 8th, she saw a boy at the Walmart store in Tri-City.
Now let's take a look at Cody Haynes' timeline. Cody's mom, Lisa, lost custody of Cody and his sisters, and they were forced to live with their father, Richard Haynes, around October of 1999. Around December of 1999, Richard and Marla moved with the children to Washington. 2001-2002, Richard Haynes and Marla Harding were reported to Child Protection Services regarding the Haynes children. It is believed the reports were from concerned and mandated reporters within the public school system. Rick and Marla pulled the children from public school to homeschool them and avoid mandated reporters, teachers and school staff. February 2004, Marla Harding was fired for misconduct from her position of social worker in the Ellensburg office of WA State Children's Administration, Division of Children and Family Services (CPS). September 11, 2004, Cody got in trouble over household chores and was last seen by his oldest half-sister Samantha Haynes at 12 a.m. September 12, 2004. She said Cody was being beaten by Rick and Marla and she asked them to stop. She was hit on the head, told to mind her own business and to go back to bed. Rick and Marla said Cody was made to sit at the kitchen table until midnight as punishment and was then sent to bed after and told not to come out. A neighbor reported Rick had a van backed up to the shed. He had the engine running and it was keeping her baby awake. September 12, 2004, at 2 a.m. Richard Haynes leaves to look for car parts. When Cody's sisters woke up the morning of the 12th, there were chairs and a sign blocking off Cody's room and bathroom off. The sign said to stay away from Cody's doorless bedroom. His sisters were told that Cody was being punished and he was to be left alone all day. No one had seen Cody since the night before. It's now 4 p.m. September 12, 2004. In this time no one has seen Cody. He did not come out to use the restroom or eat in 14 hours. Marla stated she never checked on him that whole time, and that when she did check on him there were stuffed animals under his blankets. 14 hours later, Rick gets home from looking for car parts. At 6:29 p.m. Marla called 911 to report Cody missing. Rick replaced the kitchen flooring without landlord consent or knowledge. According to Rick's a statement made in Rick's request for a protection order he filed, police didn't start looking for Cody until after he had been missing for 4 days. The 17th of September 2004, investigators go to their apartment to question Cody's siblings. Marla would not let investigators talk to them, stating she would not lose her freedom over anything. The 21st of September 2004, Cody's siblings were permanently removed from Haynes and Harding. Sold the van Rick was driving that night, the one he went to look for car parts in. On the 22nd of October 2004, investigators asked for a formal interview with Haynes and Harding. When the investigators asked to speak with Haynes alone, Harding objected and at that point lawyered up and stopped talking. Around the 27th of November 2004, there was a community search and then a vigil for Cody that Rick and Marla do not attend. The 29th of December 2004, Rick and Marla get married and got an annulment the next day. They claimed DCFS pushed them into the marriage and that they didn't plan on getting married until 2014 in court documents. The 28th of January 2005, Rick requests a protection order against the Kittitas Police Chief Steve Dunnigan, who is trying to find his missing son. It was denied. The 14th of February 2005, police obtained a search warrant to search the apartment where a significant discovery was made. The 27th of October 2005, Cody's case is given to the FBI. Cody's sisters aged out of the foster care system and have become loving mothers. Rick lived until his death in Kent, Washington and did absolutely nothing to help find his son, including speaking to investigators. Marla lived in Colorado and has since moved on, trying to find another job in the child care field. The family try and put a stop to it when they find out. She is now using the last name Murray. Since then the family have been having yearly vigils and try to get Cody on every show they can, to get him more attention. They got a call from Dr. Phil's producers, but they won't do a story without Rick or Cody's sisters attending the show. Before his death he still refused to speak for his son. The family were contacted by Crime Watch Daily and they were interested in doing a story on Cody, but they wanted to talk to his sisters about their life with Rick and Marla, praying they have enough strength to make it through it to help get Cody's face out there. There's plenty more pieces to Cody's story and we would love to hear what you all think in the comments below. Please help us and Cody's family keep his face and story out there. Cody apparently slipped out unnoticed, and apparently arranged his stuffed animals on the bed to make it look like he was asleep. He apparently took a black and green camouflage patterned bag and clothing with him, but it was later found in a shed near his house. Investigators believe Cody may have hidden the bag there. He planned to return for it later. His bicycle was also found in the shed. Richard Cody Lee Haynes Jr. is classified as an endangered missing person. At the time of him missing, his height and weight were said to be 5 foot to 5'1" and 90 pounds. His distinguishing characteristics are he is a Caucasian male, with brown hair, green eyes. He also has a round birthmark on his inner right thigh. Here is a split side-by-side view of an image of a young Cody and an up-to-date age progression image of how he may look today. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks for watching guys, until next time, take care.